you really like. I mean, I tried to read the Twilight books because I watched the films before I saw. I watched. Well, I didn't watch all the films. I watched.
I've read all the Twilight books.
Yeah, I read 3 of the books and I couldn't tackle the big Breaking Dawn one because it just confused the hell out of me. How they swapped from different characters, how they swapped from Bella to Jacob, and it was just. It was
mind-boggling.
It was mind-boggling. I couldn't do it, and it was like I can't do this because I'm only used to reading.
The other 3 books were just Bella's, just throughout the.
Yeah, it was from Bella's perspective, and that was okay. I mean, obviously, and I like the actors in Twilight. Not all of them, but I like
the
some
majority
of them. I like the majority of them because they do pull off their characters. Like the actress that plays Alice, she does very well with
Like what's the name who plays Jasper and
yeah,
Carlisle.
And maybe because I don't know, I have a bit of a thing for Jackson Rothbone, but he played really well. And compared to other things he's played, like he played a schizophrenic sort of character in Criminal Minds. If anyone's in Criminal Minds, will know. And he did so well, and you can't really brand. I mean, and I think it's probably the same for authors of a book or a film that people don't like.
I just think it's unfair that the film received stick because people just thought it was just Twilight
It was,
again.
I agree with that. It is unfair. It's not fair to take the mick because
I think people should really give it a chance, and if they don't like it, then they don't like it.
If you don't like vampires and werewolves and that sort of, I mean, okay, Sniffy Myers did make them a bit wimpy and a bit sort of scared of certain things, but they were trying to make. But I think in her own way, she's trying to make them human, and which isn't the best thing because they're vampires and werewolves. They're animalistic and they're meant to be like that anyway. But for her or the film to get stick because of to get any stick because of how.
Just because of other books she's written.
Just because of the book she's written, it's stupid and it's ridiculous. And I mean, I haven't read the book, so I don't know how well or bad it's been written. But if I ever do read the book, I won't not pick it up because Stephanie. Oh, she wrote Twilight and everything. Okay,
you'll just accept the film.
Yeah, I accept the film for what it is, and I enjoyed the film. I haven't read the book, so I don't know how it's meant to be portrayed or how certain things are together. But I don't think a book an author of a book who has been turned into a film should ever get any stick for something that because it's their work and it's. I mean, you may not like it. I mean, I lost quite a bit of love for Twilight because, I don't know, we had the same sort of friends, or we used to. We had the same sort of friends who hated it, and I lost that love for it because, I don't know what it was. I think I think it's because I wanted them to really like me as a person and not think I was stupid because it wasn't that I liked the vampires and how they were portrayed because I didn't really enjoy that, because vampires are vampires. Vampires are animalistic and they're meant to be that way, and so are werewolves. And I don't know, maybe it's because I watched vampire and things like the Underworld series and all those things that. Maybe I thought, oh well, if I really do think about it, these vampires and werewolves are really wimpy, not ripping anyone's heads off and blood being everywhere. But I do think it's off, really. So,
right, so song for the end credits.
I loved it.
We both loved it. We came
out
of the cinema so much. That.
I did. I came out like
it's classed as our song.
It is our song now because not because I think it's just really brilliantly written. It's not like anything else you
it
hear.
definitely suits the film.
And it suits the film as well. Because I was in a cinema with my best friend. And I saw the trailer and I liked the song. Now, me being a lover of music and wanting to delve into this song and listen to it and cover it, if any of you have watched any of my stuff, I loved this. I just fell in love with the song. I loved how it was, and how it really fit the whole.
It fitted the film as a whole, definitely.
It did. As the film as a whole, it completely fitted it, and it was because and my love for my absolute love for the song grew when we watched it, because I could sit in the cinema and I could I'd listen to it over and over and over. I got it on my iPod, which is sat over there. I had it on my iPod, and every time I listened to it, no matter where I was, I always thought of Sam and was going to see this film. And I think if a piece of music can bring back fond memories of going to see a good film with a bunch of great mates, then it's a good piece. You're a good, no matter what, how technical the song may have been to create. Or I watched the video to it, and the video doesn't really.
The video is a bit weird.
Make a lot of sense, but it's not my really place to say whether something makes sense or not.
The song is like.
But the song
fantastic.
is beautiful. I mean, I love they use it sounds like they use sort of the big sort of orchestral drums that that you might see in orchestras, at certain bits, and how they made it sound so sort of out of this world. And I just love the song so much, and I haven't got a bad word to say about the song. But that's maybe just because I'm a stickler for really good music and something that sounds different, not something that sounds exactly the same.
Right, the length of the film. So obviously it were 2 hours 5 minutes, the final length. Do we think it could have been longer or shorter, or was it just about right?
Well, from what you've said about certain things not making sense, or
I think really it could have been longer, like maybe an extra 10-15 minutes just to develop on certain scenes, and maybe add like the 2 scenes I mentioned before, like they could have added them in, and like they could have developed on scenes a little bit more. So I think really it should have been around 2 hours 15 minutes, maybe going towards the 2.5 hour mark.
I mean, obviously I probably have to read the book to really understand the whole length, but I don't know, certain things made sense in their own way. I mean, I would have liked it have been how intimate the relationship between each character was, and and probably because I didn't really watch it that closely to really understand. I mean, obviously they had Wanda explained who Melanie was and where she was born and everything, and little how they filmed that was pretty cool and everything. But I don't know. I would have liked to sort of.
You would have liked to see a little bit more, maybe.
Yeah, a bit more like of how.
Like I would have liked them to gone on to explain about Melanie's father. Like they sort of briefly mentioned it and then it was never mentioned again. Like they could have maybe developed on that a little bit more.
Yeah, and I don't really. I mean, I may be wrong here because I haven't seen the film in a while. But did they even mention anything about her mother? In the film, because I don't remember anything being mentioned about her mum. Because it was very sort of. She was born here and here.
Mentioned it, but I don't really remember.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I knew about Melanie was that she had a brother called Jamie, and she was
obviously she had an uncle Jeb,
and obviously she had an uncle and Auntie Maggie,
and then a dad, but her mum were never actually mentioned. I don't think.
No, I don't remember. I don't really.
Or she might have been, but it would have been like a 2-second sort of brief moment.
Yeah, and I mean, if I don't know, maybe because I don't know, the character may have developed in her own way. Probably the pace of the film was probably to move forward and not stick too much in the past. But they did really sort of explain how intimate you know, Jared and Melanie were. So I thought it was a bit weird that they hadn't also sort of talked about how intimate the family had been. Like, not, I don't mean intimate as in intimate. I mean intimate as in sort of close to.
But they could have explained it more.
Yeah, because I mean, you saw the guy who played Melanie's uncle was obviously caring of her. I mean, he didn't shoot her or anything. He had the opportunity to shoot her, but he didn't. He
chose not to.
He chose not to because, you know, forever it's probably love and human nature that stopped him from doing it. But I think for it not to be really explained enough was sort of something I couldn't really understand or ever get to grips with. That all the family wasn't there, and I didn't know why. So, because obviously you have, I don't mean all family, like the big, I mean close family, like your aunt, your uncle, your parents, and your siblings, because obviously siblings was also obviously shown. Your auntie and your uncle sort of shown. I don't really much remember about the dad.
I think they mentioned it, that he was shot or something.
No.
Oh, he took his own life when the souls came for them. But
yeah,
I think it briefly mentioned. But the mum, I don't remember.
I don't remember the mum ever being mentioned or have a I don't mean have a say, because obviously if the character of the mum was dead, then obviously the mother's not gonna have a say. But I would have liked to know whether or not, like, so the mother was around, or the mother was alive, or where the mother was.
We both would have liked a bit, like, the length of the film to be maybe 10-15 minutes extra, just to explain sort of stuff like that.
Yeah, just to explain certain little things that didn't quite, click. And I mean, I don't think really I mean, obviously not every character can be explored, but I would like to have known where Jared come from, or where or where
Ian, or
the quite the characters that were mainly shown. I'd like to even if it was brief, or because obviously you got to see how intimate. I mean, it was only brief, but you could see, because Jared had a dream about Melanie being intimate together, so you obviously knew that they loved each other, and that and it was soft and it was nice. It wasn't rough or animalistic. It was nice and soft, and I don't know. I would like to have known where Jared came from, not just him popping out of nowhere and being the hero, because I didn't know where he came from, and I would rather know the background.
Right, so the trailers. Obviously, we've watched the trailer. Do we think that, like, they released too much, or do you think they sort of held back with marketing, or do you think they sort of showed a bit too much in the trailers? I think they did show a bit too much. They sort of gave the entire thing away. Like, in the trailer, it sort of showed the chasing scene, and that's how the film opens. It sort of gave a lot away in the trailer, I think. Yeah,
I think that. Because obviously I watched the trailer before I went to go see the film, because I wanted to know what I was going to go see, and if my head was gonna, if it was going to be too tough, if it was going to be too sort of tough for me to follow, so many, but I think it did in a way. It did in a way, because
they did market the film pretty well, but I think they sort of gave a bit too much away for me.
Yeah, I mean, I like how they put the song. I might as well go back to that song. I love that song so much.
The song in the trailer as well.
I mean, I like how they put, and they sort of made the film so when she opened her eyes after she'd been captured and taken over, I'm waking, and then your eyes open. I love that bit, but I don't know, maybe because it was just, I don't know, it's like it like how thinking about it now, it may have just been sort of because I do remember it opening up to sort of her running, but I didn't understand why she was running. I didn't understand, Jared was nowhere to be, you know, I didn't know why she was running.
It goes on to explain it later on.
It does go on to explain it later on, which is fine. But at the start, I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know who was following them.
Like there's certain trailers that basically, when you watch them, you've basically seen the entire movie. I won't say I won't go that far, but the trailer does show a lot of the movie.
It does. It sort of goes
it does sort of give a lot away.
It does sort of give like. If you think about it, trailers has all got to be sort of, you know, bit of beginning, bit of middle, and a bit of end. You know, but I don't think really got to give too much away of why.
It wasn't as bad as other trailers I've seen. I've seen sort of trailers that are literally giving away the full story of it. Right, the rating. Well, it was obviously 12, but it got a PG-13 rating overall. I think definitely that's the right rating. It definitely was not a U, because obviously
it wasn't a U, no, because it had
guns, it had blood.
It did have blood occasionally, and sort of, you know,
like sort of guns
it had you know, bodies with things cut the back of the neck and stuff, and
it definitely was not.
And it wouldn't have been, because if you went to go to take your child to see that, you know, no matter how tough you think your kid is,
they'd be, I wouldn't say scared, but
they wouldn't be scared. No, but they'd ask a lot of questions, which as a parent, as you know, and as a parent, if somebody watching who are parents, and if you're not. I don't really know your audience demographic, but whether or not you're a parent or, you know, or you grew up with younger siblings and you understand how sort of naive they are, you'd have to sort of explain it to them of what was going on, and it
had to explain.
It would, like, you know, like, Mummy, why is that man bleeding, and all that sort of, and why isn't that one, and you know, you'd have to explain that, and as a
parent, they won't really want to explain that to the child.
Yeah, and I don't think you'd really want to take your small child to go see a film, and no matter what gender they are.
I would say it definitely was not a U. I won't say it's as far as an 18 or 15. I don't think it's not that gory.
It's not that bad. I mean, I've watched.
I definitely think the PG-13 12 rating were definitely right for it.
I mean, I've like, if you compare this film to like a film called Saw, I mean, you can't really make that much of a comparison, because Saw's awful. I mean, I haven't seen all the films, but I don't want to. I've seen some of the depths of some of the things.
You've seen one Saw film, and you've practically seen them all, basically.
Yeah, because I think Saw films, at the start it was a pretty gruesome concept. You know, two guys locked in a room by a psychopath, and they had to try and find their way out. One with the doctor. The doctor lost his foot, but I think it's probably maybe it's just like the continuity of that, and I haven't seen all the films, but I didn't really want to, because I did literally one day sit on my bed and literally look at every single death in each individual film, and there was only one that I thought was quite funny, and the other ones was just awful, and I didn't want to watch the films then, because I mean, that's maybe because I'm not a very sort of, I don't mind blood, but I'm not sort of, you know, ripping limbs and torturing people as fun or entertaining. But that's just me. It's my preference. But
what do you think of the movie poster? Like, sort of Melanie Wanderer sort of stood there, and then Ian and Jared at the side of her. I think like they could have added Jamie to the poster to sort of emphasise that. They could have added him to the poster, I think.
Yeah, that's something I couldn't understand, because I've seen the poster. I'm not completely clueless about this film. I've seen the poster,